say something, to tell something, it's quite funny. Or there are some comments of my friends who afterwards accept the fact that, sorry, it's not us also.
Some of your friends from Paris, were they prosecuted in some way also?
No.
So you have been voted as the leader of the Russian opposition?
I'm not leader, once more. I'm not leader, but I'm a sort of, how to say, very good case to show. Because right now we were trying, when all the independent media in Russia were totally crushed, we were considering seriously the project of developing the magazine in Western Europe. But magazine needs real money. So I discussed with my friends, businessmen, Russian businessmen who live in Europe, the fact of creating budget for it. And definitely, right now, I've contacted them already and they said, sorry Nikolai, but right now what we see, what problems can we have based on you, we are out of this. So the idea is not, once more, I'm not a professional politician, but I'm simply entrepreneur with active position. And just to tell to all the guys who can support real politicians, opponent, it's a very good idea just to show to everybody, okay, if you help to these young politicians, you will be object of Interpol. So it's not because I'm a leader. No, I'm not leader. I'm simply somebody who supports. And just to tell to everybody who still wants to support, don't do it in dangerous, it was made like this. And once more, it's totally logical. If you were Mr. Putin, you would do exactly the same.
Okay, and my next question is, I don't know if somebody else has questions. You said that since 2000 you were in opposition of Putin.
No, opposition of Putin didn't exist at that time.
Yes.
I did not tell.
I just want to develop the question a little further. Because I remember that at the time a lot of people were like in love with Putin. He was the new energetic
now much more people are in love with Putin. Now it's 85%.
No, I mean in Western Europe, people saw this new leader that didn't drink and he looked healthier and so on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, he supported Bush when
Iraq, so definitely.
Yes. And I was just wondering, you were like against him at the time. What did you see except his past in the KGB? I mean, what was your like?
Once more, I was not really against him. I told that time I was afraid of him. I told.
Okay, tell me the reason.
No, but once more, when you talk, you can be afraid, for example, of global warming. You can be afraid of the forthcoming earthquake or tsunami.
Okay.
So I told the time that when he has come to his office, I really have seen that somebody who was appointed by totally in democratic way, because he was just shown by Mr. Yeltsin that okay, he will follow me, and that's all. And that time exactly I learned in university the history of ancient, for example, Rome, the history of right and of law in Greece, and I got that any which is created by non-democratical way can bring something good at the end. But once more, as I told you, in 2007 I come back to Russia. That time, the 7 years which Putin behaved quite well, calmed down my attitude, so I would say that the fact that in Paris, even in 2003, I helped to Chechens, for example, who worked in my shop to sell, it was simply because, okay, Putin, that time he was against Chechnya, and as all the French people, I know that any struggle against any problem shouldn't cross the human rights. And that time I wasn't against Putin directly, but I was for defender of human rights. So opposition against Putin that time didn't exist. Real start of opposition was on 2011, and even that time Liberté wasn't opposition organization. It was a real civil movement against election, fraud electoral. So it's like this. But once more, for me the most important point was that Putin, okay, he is a very charismatic leader. He is a real danger right now for the world. But anyway, he is still a symbol. The real problem of Russia is the way how it's managed, and it's managed totally by FSB. and FSB has put Putin using that time Mr. Yeltsin, and this fact actually made me scared, that how Russia is managed. The fact that Putin was put there, it was not so dramatic at that time, but how it was done, it made me thinking that yes, this country will have real problems, because it's managed not by democratic way. And even today, if Putin is killed tomorrow, you really think that the danger will be disappeared? If Putin tomorrow, I don't know, is occasionally killed while he's riding the bear in Altai. Imagine. Talks new, and I'm not sure that something will be changed immediately in Russia. The problem is not in Putin, the problem is with this, okay, Putin would emblem, for sure. It will be some local problems, but...
But does it mean that you think that Putin is not in the center of power, but some kind of corporation, the FSB corporation?
Yeah, for sure. No.
Even now?
Even now. Yeah, I mean that definitely, once more, ask yourself, if tomorrow something happens to Mr. Putin, you really think that Russia will be immediately changed?
There will be probably a fight for power and somebody with...
yeah, for sure. Exactly.
I don't know what's this in English.
No, unfortunately, you see that definitely Putin is a real problem of, not of Russia, but of all the world now. Yeah, we still... This morning NATO officially confirmed that Russia has invaded into Ukraine. Yeah, it's the first time that NATO officially told that yes, Russian troops are there. But not only this, I would consider that as real, for example, problem of Russian penetration, it's the sense of corruption which Russia brings everywhere. So we are slightly changing the subject, but it's really important. Why, for example, Russia, even without Putin, is really dangerous for the countries like Bulgaria, for example. Because when Russia brings some money as investment, it also brings this money are contaminated from the beginning by the sense of permission and for tolerance for corruption. Because that's exactly what all the acceptors of Russian investments should avoid. Because how it happens? Russia comes and says, okay, we invest money into South Stream. But it's totally fine if those guys who accept this money create some corruption schemes, and it will work fine. And it's the main difference between Russian investments and investments, for example, of Europe. And afterwards, what happens? It means that these corrupted people, Russia thinks that they should be tolerant for Russia, so they should be a sort of 5 column or something like this. But the most important, that evil simple people start considering corruption as something totally acceptable. Because, you know, what's the main difference of Russian and French corruption, for example? Corruption exists in France also, definitely. In the United States, in Estonia, in Georgia, everywhere, as in Russia. But in France, corruption is considered as a sort of pedophilia. So you would never share the fact that you are mayor and you got some bribe, even with your wife. Because actually it's a shame. You can get this money, but it's a shame. In Russia it's not like this. If you are a mayor and you succeeded to get some bribe, you will tell to all your friends, you will say, okay, I'm so successful.
And you want to resign.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the main problem. So, what's the main difference between Estonia and Bulgaria? After the crash of Soviet Union, the GDP per capita was quite reasonable. But right now, Estonian GDP is 3 times more than Bulgaria. Why? Because from the beginning they told that we will struggle corruption by all means. They refused totally from Russian investment because they got it immediately that if Russia brings some money, it will bring corruption also. And it's the result. And Bulgarians, they did not get it from the beginning. And another very serious problem of corruption is that a simple person, he really starts to be sure that, okay, I would not rely on institutions, but I would rely on my personal relations with representative of power. And that's why democratic institutions are slowed down in developing. So Russia actually, by bringing investments to Bulgaria, it exports also this totalitarianism or absence of faith of normal people into democratic institutions through bringing the corruption. That's why, and this is not connected even to Mr. Putin. You see that, unfortunately, the fact that corruption is considered as totally normal by all the Russians would not be changed if Mr. Putin is changed tomorrow. That's the truth.
What must happen for you to return to Russia someday?
You know that it's quite funny that last summer I got, no, not last summer, it was in 2012. I got the meeting with one very serious guy who was one of the friends of Putin, who told me, Nikolai, we are creating a new agency of strategic initiatives, and we invite you to Russia to take the position of this of head of this agency. And the main idea of this agency is to develop social projects, blah 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 blah. And you will be appointed personally by Mr. Putin. You will not have any problems. Okay, I refused immediately. I would say, because I will not work for this power. Never mind what. Not even because I did not believe them that. Okay, I will come there, would have some problems. No, because I really don't think that with this type of power it can be developed. But I still receive from Open Government of Russia some laws for my expertise, something like this. Even I've replied officially twice that I don't work for this power. I would say that not revolution, but total change of way of power in Russia, which will bring the opportunity for social entrepreneurs like me to work normally, to work without corruption. How? I'm not sure that it's possible that these changes can happen without real revolution. And revolution cannot happen before Russian people start to understand what happens. Because right now, yes, you see that 85–90% they support the occupation of Crimea, they support everything. It means nothing. When Bush has won this Iraq war, 80% of Americans supported him, and then he lost the elections in 2 years. So the situation, Russians, they really fast in falling in love, and but really fast in afterwards in cooling down their feelings. That's true. We'll see, but for now my objective is definitely to develop social care in Eastern Europe, because here you see that Eastern Europeans are really 30 years beyond Western Europeans. Even in all the other areas, if you come to Auchan, or here it's not Auchan, here it's Monsieur Bricolage, for example. Monsieur Bricolage, here is exactly the same as in Paris. But if you visit retirement residence, here and in Paris, you are 30 years beyond, or even 50 maybe. It's awful what you see here. And it's really a pity, because we differ from animals, I mean that we human beings. One of the main criteria is that we take care of our old ones.
Yes, but won't you be forced to be in politics? I mean, what will happen now with you? I mean, probably you have some idea, I don't know. But don't you think that you will be forced to be in politics for the next 1 or 2 years?
You see that I'm a French citizen.
Okay.
So definitely I can't. I think that if my social mission needs from me some political statement, I would definitely do it. But once more, my objective is not to become professional politic. That's very important. I really want to create some functioning systems which will act directly. So I want to produce services, and mainly the idea of any politician to change legislation.
I understand you, but you have, I mean, the things that happen to you, they have put you directly in the focus of Bulgarian national politics, in the focus of Russian politics, even in some way in the EU, because you're a French citizen and you're being prosecuted in Bulgaria by order of Russia and so on. And I'm asking you these questions because some of us here have similar problems. I mean, we were drawn into these protests for the last year. And even if we try to do some our usual professionals, I mean, it's not really possible. And that is what I'm asking you. You seem quite certain that you will be able to get on with your life in the usual way.
I'm trying to do it. Once, because I know that there are a lot of young people who can bring in politics much more than me. Here in Bulgaria, in France. But once more, if it's necessary for my professional activity, definitely I would have liked to do something. I can formulate something, I can deliver some ideas, and if I see that some political statement really doesn't help for performing social, definitely I will be. But once more, I don't want to participate in any elections or to take any position of any professional. But maybe you are correct, because I really don't have this experience before. For me, when I never